As y'all know, I have the Baldur's Gate 3 brain rot, but I have currently been experiencing the Gale Decarius of Waterdeep brain rot real bad. And it turns out that Theodora matches Elias's freak. I learned so much about myself. I think I've always known this. I'm a very soft girl. I'm very soft, I'm very sensitive. And yesterday we streamed our first game because I'm starting to dabble in that. I'm starting to dabble in like streaming gaming content because I game so much, like I want to share some of it with y'all. How does Grace Draven write monster fucking? Just straight up monster fucking. And you're like, this is the most delightful thing I've ever read in my life. And in the meantime, I did get my tattoo updated. We still have another session, but we got most of the shading, the leaves, and the poppies done. So it's been so nice to get this covered up. I'm feeling so much more confident. I cannot wait to get buff. You guys just wait. You just wait. When I get buff and start beating people up because I have a tattoo and buff arms, unstoppable. I have read 3 books that I really enjoyed. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph. I'm currently really struggling. I'm really struggling with my depression, and I'm really trying to claw my way out of wanting to push everyone and everything away from me. But I wanted to vlog because vlogging makes me feel normal. It's something that I've been doing for the past 3 years consistently, and I just really find like comfort in it. So welcome to the Depression Diaries. One of the ways that I'm gonna be soft with myself is I'm gonna try to read 3 books this week that maybe could cure my brain rot. As y'all know, I have the Baldur's Gate 3 brain rot, but I have currently been experiencing the Gale Decarius of Waterdeep brain rot real bad. I decided to romance Gale on my second run of the game. I learned so much about myself. I think I've always known this. I'm a very soft girl. I'm very soft, I'm very sensitive, and in my romance, like even in my real life, I love romance. I love love. I love big declarations of love, but not like too showy. I just like when somebody is deeply in love with someone, right? That's what I love to read about. That's why I love reading about the process of falling in love, when people are like really obsessed with each other, not in a, you know, I'm gonna go stalk you and murder somebody type of way. But like, wow, this world would be so much less bright if you didn't exist in it type of love. I've realized that about myself. And the thing about Gale in Baldur's Gate is he is that man. He's that man. So I was online, I was scouring the internet trying to find where there are main characters like Gale. It didn't have to be a straight romance by any means. A lot of the recommendations were definitely straight books, and a lot of them weren't even romances. So, but I found 2 that are supposed to be like what I'm looking for. And then I have a 3rd book, which I'm actually in the middle of, called Tusk Love. This is the reversible dust jacket. I can show you the regular dust jacket, but this is a critical role book, and it's a fantasy romance. This is the original cover, and then this is the reversible dust jacket. And the thing about this story is it exists within a D&D campaign via Critical Role, and this is a book that gets mentioned all the time, and they decided to make it real. So yeah, the first book that I'm reading is Tusk Love, and then I want to read, finally, Half a Soul. I actually thought that I unhauled this. When I was reading the recommendations for the Gale books, I was like, oh no, I think I unhauled Half a Soul, but I didn't. So some part of me knew that I needed to pick this up at some point in time. They are saying, the book streets are saying, that the male main character gives Gale, so hopefully, I don't know. I also think that because there's a bit of like humor and silliness to this from what I understand, and it's a bit cozy, is probably why this is being recommended. And then the last book I have on my Kobo, and it's Master of Crows by Grace Draven, and I'm so excited about this. I was actually so excited about this recommendation because I love Radiance so much. I love Radiance so much. I think it's probably one of my favorite fantasy romance books that I've read. Radiance is a book that I think about all the time, and I've always known that I wanted to go back to Grace Draven. I really want to read Entreat Me, but this Master of Crows, I have to get my Gale fix. So yeah, we're just gonna give into my brain rot this week and be soft with myself and try to build some new habits. I'm really trying to build some new habits. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't know. But here's trying. Good morning. I look like a toe. Also, I made my matcha with collagen because I kind of said yesterday I'm trying to make some lifestyle changes, and I'm like being really intentional and serious about it. I just did a bunch of research last night about a yoga studio. I really want to try some hot yoga, specifically for joint pain. I just feel like it's going to be the best for me, especially getting back into working out, although I do hate sweating. I do hate sweating, so this is gonna be an interesting time. But I did find a place. I did find a place that's like affordable enough. I think yoga studios and Pilates studios are just expensive. They're expensive no matter what. It was between this and like trying to find a personal trainer for a short time. I don't want a personal trainer for long term because that's very expensive as well. But I wanted a personal trainer for a short time to like get me back in the habit of things. But we're gonna try the yoga one first because I can get a week for free and then it's like discounted for the rest of the month. So I'm gonna try that out for a month. See how it's going, see if I'm actually going, and then you know, figure it out from there. It's hard. I used to be extremely athletic. I eventually found yoga and Pilates sometime in college. I think one of my roommates, my college roommates, really enjoyed it, and so I started trying it out and I ended up falling in love with it. But at this point in my life, between the pandemic, between just life and grief and everything, I'm at a place where I no longer have the motivation to care for myself, and so that's what I'm trying to like figure out. That's what we're going on. I'm not going to take you on like this weight loss journey. It's not even going to be like that. I know that this is a very sensitive topic and I don't want that to be what my videos are about. I just will be mentioning it here and there, but I will be letting you know when I'm talking about it in the future. Anyway, I did research for that. I made my matcha today with my collagen because collagen does really help me in terms of my joint pain. I have a lot of joint pain and I'm just really hoping, for the most part, like the biggest thing for me isn't even about weight, it's about strength and like feeling better. Feeling better is like the number one thing for me. I've just gotten to a place of feeling awful all the time, and I don't think that this has to be my state of being, you know? However, today is not day one of like me getting into the routine. Although my walking pad, I did bring it into the office because it wasn't really super accessible out in the living room. We're still trying to figure out where things are going to fit nicely here. So we finally brought the walking pad in here. I'm probably gonna set that up a little bit later today and maybe do like an afternoon walk or something, I don't know. But today is really exciting because I've really been wanting to stream gaming on my Patreon, and that's actually happening today. We'll see how it goes. It's gonna be the first time Rin and I, one of my patrons and friends, is going to be gaming with me. I'm really, really excited about it. Ever since we decided to do it, I've been so hyped, and hopefully this will become a more regular thing. Also, The Shire is coming out in like 13 days, I think, as of today, and I really want to stream that as soon as it comes out, so I'm really excited that this is finally happening. I did read a little bit of Tusk Love last night. I love this book so much. And our male main character, Oscar, he's such a little grumpy guy. He's mainly grumpy because his mother passed away and they also were very poor growing up. And so he has spent his lifetime, you know, protecting his mother, trying to get by in poverty, and then now losing his mother. And this grief is very fresh for him. And so meeting Guinevere, our female main character, she's in trouble. She's basically got caught up by these bandits and they have killed all of her guards, and Oscar steps in and saves her. And he's kind of like, oh, you're gonna have to go your own way. I can get you to this nearest town because I live there, and then you're gonna have to make your own way. Guinevere's journey is also a little grief-stricken, I guess, because she doesn't feel like her parents love her. As a matter of fact, over the years, because of the magic she possesses, her parents are kind of like, we should have gotten rid of her, we should have put her up for adoption, our lives would be better without her. And she's overheard these things. Apparently they're not aware that she knows how they feel, but she is fully aware, and she has kind of spent her life trying to prove to them that this magic she possesses is not a threat to them. So she's doing everything in her power to get back to her parents with these mysterious items that will apparently gain her their favor. So Guinevere and Oscar are thrust together in this unlikely alliance, relationship type situation, and I really love the way that they interact with each other because Guinevere is more sunshiny and Oscar is a little bit of a grump, but really it's his grief. And so he doesn't take long to open up to Guinevere, and immediately it's just this big cinnamon roll towards her. It's actually my work from home day. I have quite a few trainings that I have to take today. We have a bunch of like, I guess because it's the beginning of our fiscal year, we have a bunch of things that kind of renews at this point in time. So I'm having to take a few like security trainings and some Jedi trainings, stuff like that today. I have a few things that I need to type up, and I need to start getting my cart ready because it's almost that time. Let me fix this. I actually got ready for the day because I just haven't really been putting a lot of effort into getting ready. So I thought it might be helpful and make me feel good. Also, we're gonna be streaming later, so didn't want to look completely like a toe. I wanted to talk about a few things. I got this really great sweater, I already stained it. Yeah, it's from Sunrise on the Reaping. It's from Sunrise on the Reaping. As soon as I saw this, I was immediately like, I need this. I love everything embroidered. My cat's name is Goose, and like all fire, the representation of this. Second, one of the things that I'm really trying to do is cut back on sugary drinks because I really love a sugary drink. I've said it before, I'm a drink girl. I love a sweet treat in the form of drink. And I was like, why don't I just make my own little fun drinks? So I love hibiscus tea, so I got a hibiscus blueberry tea. I steeped it, got a little bit of lemon juice and honey, and I made a hibiscus lemonade with just honey, but it's not soda. And the cool thing about this is if I wanted it to be like bubbly, I could just add a sparkling water. Actually, what if I added an Olipop? Like the lemon lime Olipop? What if I did that? Yes. Anyway, this is really good. I actually would like to just get a regular hibiscus one, so I think I'm gonna get that next time we're at the store. Lastly, I need to pull a card for the Tarot Readathon. If you don't know, the Tarot Readathon is happening. I am a host. I'm on Team Pentacles. You still have time to join if you wanted to. It's a month-long readathon. By the time you see this, there will probably be a week left of the readathon, if not a little bit over a week. Why not join? Just get in as much as you can. The 6 prompts that I have pulled, I have fulfilled 3 of them, and the other 3 do not really fit this book. Arguably, Tusk Love could count for a book about a book because in theory, this book is based off of a book in one of the Critical Role campaigns. I will link that down below if you're curious what I'm talking about. There's a video that explains what Tusk Love was born from, but the book technically is the book from a game. It's not a book about the book. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that would be a big stretch. Just gonna pull something. The Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Wheel of Fortune, read a book that represents your favorite season. Wait, that is so funny because the signifier card is also the favorite season, and this is set in fall. My battery is about to die. Hello friends. Today has been quite a day. Not in the best way, but we're moving on. We're moving on with our lives. But it has been good in the fact that I finished Test Glove. And yesterday we streamed our first game because I'm starting to dabble in that. I'm starting to dabble in like streaming gaming content because I game so much, like I want to share some of it with y'all. So we're dabbling in that. Hopefully I will be making it like a live thing to the public soon enough once I figure everything out. But it was really, really fun. It was so fun.
Step carefully. There's a trap.
Oh, guys, sorry about that. Oh no. Oh, okay. Hold on, I need to share this with y'all. You're not going to be able to hear the sound, but you're going to be able to see this. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm seeing. This is my view. I just hear like, yeah, okay.
And Tusk Love was so good. It was so good. I'm not sure that's quite a 5 stars. Like I was feeling that 5-star feeling. I'm not sure if it's quite a 5 stars, but it's definitely up there for me. Like it's gonna be one of my favorite books of the year, I feel, because it was so surprisingly sweet and tender, but also very spicy. I love the 2 main characters. They are 2 characters that I really enjoy in fantasy romance because not only was I rooting for them to be together, I was rooting for them individually to like have their individual journeys and to go through the things that they needed to go through individually, but then also to be together and their relationship together was really beautiful, and I was rooting for that. And that's my favorite kind of fantasy romance, where I'm rooting for like everything for these characters. A lot of times I feel like my enjoyment with fantasy romance is that I like one of the characters way more than the other. And I definitely think I related more to Oscar in this book, especially with the loss of parents, you know, but I also saw a little bit of myself in Guinevere, and I really just was, I really was rooting for them, loved them, enjoyed the magic, enjoyed the world. The world, while it's set in the D&D overarching world, it's still a very basic setting, so anyone can go into it. It's not going to be confusing. If you don't know anything about D&D, this is not a confusing book to me, in my opinion, at all. And I'm coming from a place of like, I don't know that much about D&D. I know some, but I don't know that much about D&D, and I didn't feel like this was super confusing. And I think that it is swoon worthy. It's definitely spicy. Also, if you want to know the origins of it, I am going to be linking a video down below that kind of supercuts some of the campaign clips where they're talking about Tusk Love and like how it became this joke throughout this campaign that they were doing. So you could watch that if you want to know like where it came from, the origin of why this book is being published. But yeah, it was great. It was great. Now I have to choose if I'm going to read Half a Soul or Night Crow. Is it the Night Crow? Midnight Crow? I can't remember the title of it. Which one am I gonna read first? I'm feeling like I'm gonna read this one first, because I don't know how I'm gonna like this one. I could be very middle of the road with it, or I could really love it. I don't think I'm gonna hate this, because I did read Witchwood, actually, the other book by this author, and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't a favorite like I thought it was going to be, but I enjoyed it and I really liked the writing. I did read the first chapter or the prologue of this. Yeah, I read the prologue of this and I really enjoyed the writing. It's kind of silly and whimsical, so I feel that I'm going to have a good time. Is it going to be a new favorite? I don't know, but I'm trying to determine, because Grace Draven, that one I'm predicting I'm going to love. That I'm gonna just love it so much. So maybe I'll pick this one up first as like a little, I don't want to call it a palate cleanser, but I don't know what else to call it. I'm sipping on my peach Olipop since it is my lunchtime. I don't know what else I have to update you about. I had something on my mind that I was going to update you about. Now I can't remember. Oh, I am going to dinner tonight with Kitty. We're going to have dinner after work, which I'm really looking forward to. I definitely need that. I need that energy for today, because what is happening in the world and just in my life, I don't, you know, I don't even need to go into it. Stop right there. Thank you very much. Hello, good morning. It's been a little bit. I just needed to take a little quick break from filming, but we are back. And in the meantime, I did get my tattoo updated. We still have another session, but we got most of the shading, the leaves, and the poppies done. And then the rest of the tattoo that's like white right now, it's gonna be like a burnt orange color, like a deep burnt orange, which I'm so excited about because I really love those colors and I think they look pretty good on me. This is gonna be the brightest that it ever is, and then it's gonna fade a little bit, and I'm really interested to see like how that looks, what that process is gonna look like. But I'm also just excited for it to be done. Yesterday hurt quite a bit. Obviously it was like line work, and now it's color and it's going all over. So the healing process is gonna be a little bit longer. We're gonna wait a month between the tattoos so that it can really heal up and I don't have to go through the pain. Cause we've been going, like the first appointment was 6.5 hours. This one was like 7, almost 7.5 hours. So I'm hoping the next one, like, I'm fine being there for the amount of time that it is. It's just like your body being in specific positions for a really long amount of time. It hurts. I had to stretch a lot yesterday, which I didn't feel like I did as much the first time. But I actually love being there. I love the vibe of a lot of the tattoo artists there and the piercers and just the people who are hanging out there. They're so sweet. It did make me feel a little bit better. It did make me feel a little bit better to be doing this thing for myself, especially the cover up. I've talked about it. It's a Harry Potter tattoo that I'm covering up. I shouldn't have gotten the tattoo. It is what it is, but I'm glad that I'm getting this opportunity to like get rid of it and not have to think about it anymore. And it just feels so good, especially because it's a tattoo that I'm really, really loving and I've been wanting for so long. And you guessed it, I was there for so long that I basically almost finished a book. I started Half a Soul, and I am only an hour away from finishing the book and I love it. I'm glad that I ended up picking it up because I was gonna pick up The Master of Crows, but we need to talk about that in a second. I have to switch things around. But I was gonna pick that up, and then I was like, no, I need something that's like a little bit silly, a little bit more lighthearted. Although I wouldn't say this was super lighthearted. I don't know. My expectations were really weird with this book. I didn't know what exactly to expect, but I thought it was gonna be just like a silly, goofy kind of Bridgerton meets fairy vibes, and that's not really it. You're essentially following a main character named Theodora, and she has lost half of her soul. Basically, a fairy came and took half of her soul with the intentions of taking her entire soul, and her cousin came along and stabbed him with some iron scissors, and he was only able to get half of her soul. So now as an adult, she doesn't really have the same range of emotions as most humans do. When people insult her or when things are really sad, she doesn't really feel those emotions. But this has been extremely helpful because she is still very close to her cousin Vanessa, who was the one that helped her when she was younger. They're still very close. They're basically like sisters. And Vanessa is in the market for a husband, but Vanessa doesn't really like all of the men that are trying to court her currently. Many of them are old and they're just wealthy, and that's why they're courting her. And she's just not interested. She kind of wants to fall in love, or she wants to find someone who's on par with her. So Theodora kind of comes in and acts weird or strange, and it often scares off these men. But because of that, obviously Vanessa has not gotten married yet, and her mother is very determined to get her married, so they decide to go to London. Really, Vanessa's intention of going to London is that she wants to meet the sorcerer Elias. Theodora finds this to be very weird, but they end up trekking to London. And funny enough, Theodora has an encounter with Elias before he even meets Vanessa or she even knew who he was. And it turns out that Theodora matches Elias's freak. And it's a slow burn romance, and I love it. There's also this overarching mystery that's happening because there are these kids that are falling into these magical slumbers and they can't wake them up, and they're kind of just deteriorating and they don't know why this is happening. So Theodora helps Elias try to figure out what's going on. I'm having a great time. Like I said, I have like an hour left, so I'm gonna try to finish that today. And then, yeah, I'm gonna read Entreat Me and not Master of Crows, simply because the audiobook is on Hoopla for Entreat Me, and The Master of Crows, it's on Audible, and I don't use Audible, so it's an Audible exclusive. I'm gonna have to read it with my eyeballs at some point, but now it's not that point. Stock of what I need to get at the grocery store today. I'm just doing like a small run so that we have meals for the week, but I bought a butt ton of fruit yesterday. I bought a whole thing of blackberries, a big bag of cherries. I did get a big old thing of watermelon and I already ate it. I got a bunch of apples. I have 2 mangoes and a pineapple, and I think today I'm gonna make a fruit salad. Also, I have so many cucumbers. I have so many cucumbers because I'm obsessed with making little cucumber salads. So I'm definitely gonna need to get more some more cukes. I also have my leftover cotton candy grapes and blackberries from last week. So I'll eat that this morning. And I have another sparkling matcha lemonade, but do I want that tonight? This morning? Let's make a matcha. We're back, but with groceries. You know what I did today? Which I never thought I would do because, I don't know, I just never really thought I would eat the whole thing. I got an entire rotisserie chicken. I know that's like not groundbreaking, but I just don't do it because I'm like, am I gonna eat all of this in the time that I need to eat it? But I don't think so. I also got my favorite frozen chicken nuggies. These are the buffalo chicken nuggets from Morningstar, so it's not really chicken, it's tofu. But I love them. I love them. They're so easy. You just toss them in a salad. I put them in the air fryer for like 12 minutes and call it a day. But I like mine really crispy. Technically, they're supposed to be like a 4-minute thing, but I want it crispy. I got some more butter lettuce because I love butter lettuce. I actually only have some spring mix, baby spring mix. Broccoli, bell peppers. These are like my 2 favorite vegetables to add into dinners. I also like Brussels sprouts and asparagus, and I think I go between asparagus and broccoli a lot, but broccoli is my tried and true. Like, I always love broccoli. Also, just roasted in the oven, roasted in the air fryer. It is delicious. Bell peppers sauteed in like any type of meal. My favorite colors are the orange and the red. I got a few more apples because I love apples. Jared really loves apples. But as I showed you, I already bought a lot of fruit the other day, so the only other fruit I got was 2 apples and this watermelon because I'm gonna eat that right now, actually. I got my Olipop, but this time I got the orange squeeze. I haven't had it in a while. Last time I tried it, I did not like it, which was weird because I used to really love the orange squeeze. But you know when you find other flavors of things that you end up liking a bit more than a flavor that you tried previously? I think that's what's happening. I did get a sweet potato, this big boy, and then I got some sourdough bread. Here's Goose. He's curious about the food. Anyway, I get the cracked wheat sourdough. I think this brand is from the Bay Area, so I don't know how widely available it is, but it's my favorite. Here is the big ass rotisserie chicken. What will I do with this? I don't know. Eat it? Eat it all? Hello friends, it's my work from home day. I have shuttered myself into this room. It's actually very gloomy and I had the curtains closed already and I just didn't open them back up, so it feels very dark in here and it's only like 10. I just made myself a creamy matcha. I have my water and then I'm watching some co-working sprints on Twitch. Been a pretty good work from home day. I've already gotten a few things done. I'm working on my Baker and Taylor cart right now to order some books for the library. I don't like love my section of the library because it's like very political, but I enjoy getting to see like what's coming out and what political topics people are talking about and interested in and publishing right now. But I do wish that I had like one section that was like fiction or fantasy, sci-fi, whatever. I just wish that I had that, but that's just not how it works around here. I feel like I'm getting into a better place mentally. I've been blocking out times of my day to just like be productive. I've also been gaming a little bit more with my Patreon, soon to be like a public thing. I'm figuring out my Twitch. If I want to do that, I think I do. The only reason I was really wanting to do it on YouTube is because like I understand the mechanics of streaming on YouTube. I understand how to make it like subscriber only or a little more private. But the more research I've done about Twitch, like you can kind of do similar things. And I also love the platform of Twitch because I watch so many gaming streams on there, and I have for years, but I just like, I don't know, I'm intimidated by it. Also, the other good thing about doing Patreon only gaming right now was that I could work out a lot of the kinks in my streaming because I was having some issues with the mic that I was using. So I ended up getting a different mic, and I've been wanting to get a new mic anyway, so it was kind of perfect timing. And then I was having like some interference with the technology, and there's this weird buzzing that was happening. And I think we have finally fixed that. Jared helped me last night fix all of that. So we'll see today. Oh, I guess not. I don't think today. We'll probably see on Saturday if that gets fixed. I don't know. But otherwise, yeah, I think this has been helping me like focusing on some other hobbies, focusing less on the things that are getting to me right now. So I think that's been helping me a lot. And also Jared has been home for the last couple of days, so that's also been nice, like hanging out with him and him just being around. He will be going back to work next week, so we'll see how I cope. Oh, sorry, my coworker's calling me. 1 second. Okay, we're back. I just had a quick call with my coworker. So yeah, I don't really remember what I was talking about, but I'm feeling a bit better the last couple of days, which has been nice. I'm feeling like kind of normal, but things are still really weird at work, and I'm just trying to move through it. I also finished my whole task list yesterday, which was like to clean the house and start getting laundry sorted and to like sort out some admin things on my end. And I finished Half a Soul. I loved it. I didn't have that much longer left when I first updated you about it. I thought that I had like an hour and a half, but I only had 30 minutes left because there were short stories at the end, and I didn't really feel like reading the short stories, if I'm honest with you. But I really enjoyed the end. This is such a sweet, slow burn, like non-spicy romance, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was exactly what I needed. The brain rot was real. I don't exactly think that the male character Elias reminds me that much of Gale. I can see why somebody may recommend this if you are romancing Gale in Baldur's Gate, but like I don't necessarily see the full connection. So I feel character-wise, they're not exactly giving the same thing. But it did give me that fun magic-y vibe, so I do see the recommendation as being like a solid recommendation, but I don't know if it's like the most solid recommendation if you're like really wanting a character like Gale, you know? And that's where my brain rot is coming from. So that is actually why I was supposed to read The Master of Crows, but like I said, I want to listen to an audiobook, especially today, because I have a lot of like getting my book carts ready and doing some statistic stuff. So I want an audiobook while I'm doing that. And The Master of Crows audiobook is Audible exclusive, so I switched to Entreat Me, and I ended up wanting to read more yesterday, so I started Entreat Me. I'm obsessed. I'm already 14% into it, and I am obsessed. Something about Grace Draven's writing and characters immediately work for me. They're always a little bit older than your average fantasy romance character, and they're also always down to earth in some way, and I think I just really resonate with that. What's funny is I wouldn't call myself like a retellings person. Like I don't seek out a book for a retelling, but I was kind of excited to see how Grace Draven would do a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and honestly, this one is so refreshing because there's like a sister dynamic. So there's two sisters, and the oldest is Louvel, and that's who you're following through this story, and her younger sister is coveted. Like there's this older gentleman who is wealthier. He's kind of entrapping her father into like spending loads of money to try to get him in debt, so that he'll essentially give his youngest daughter to him as payment for his debt. And the little sister's like, no, I'm in love with this other guy, and I'm not gonna be sold off to this old man that I don't like. And Louvel, the older sister, is like, yeah, I've been monitoring our debt, like, we don't owe you that much. You're not gonna take my sister. Well, it turns out that her father went behind her back and took this other trade deal that ended up going terribly, and he is way more in debt than she even anticipated. And so the man that has been entrapping him is like, yeah, give me your daughter or I'm gonna kill you. And as soon as that happens, the little sister, I'm forgetting her name, I'm sorry. The little sister runs away with the guy that she's in love with. And Louvel is like, oh, I'm gonna go get my sister back. Well, this book opens with the prologue where this warlord, I'm gonna try to say his name, Tor, I think is how you say his name. He is cursed by his dying wife. Basically, they had a marriage of convenience. She was giving birth and she died after giving birth to their son. And she curses him to this terrible life, and that his son is going to be his downfall. And his son is the person that Louvel's little sister is in love with. So she's off to follow her little sister, which is going to lead her to the warlord and to this curse. And that's like about where I'm at, is she's like finally at the castle. And I'm loving it. I love it. I love the writing. I love the atmosphere. I love the tone. I love the two main characters. And honestly, I don't really know where this is going. Like, obviously I know it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so I know they're gonna fall in love and break the curse. Maybe, hopefully. That's the vibes. Also, I need you to see Goose. He is hanging out with me today.
Where did the time go? How do we move so far away? Holding on, how much can we both take when love is an echo? I can't hear what you're saying when love is an echo. I can't hear what you're saying.
I finished And Treat Me. Yeah. It was a 5-star. Grace Draven doesn't miss. And you know the wildest part about it, right? Because this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I've also read Radiant, so this fits into what I'm about to say. But how does Grace Draven write monster fucking? Just straight up monster fucking. And you're like, this is the most delightful thing I've ever read in my life. She said, I'm gonna subtly write monster fucking so good, so delightful, that you're not even gonna know what hit you. And you know what? She's so real for that. She is so real for that. Grace, even if I don't like one of your books, I'm not gonna be disappointed, because what a delight. What a delight it has been to spend time in books like Radiance and Entreat Me. Also, while this has been one of the worst weeks, not of my life, it's just been a bad week of this year. Definitely not of my life. It's been about a week. Probably a bad year. Definitely a bad 3 months. Point being, I think that it's so fun for me that not only have I been literally healing myself by getting this tattoo cover up, because I know people say to me all the time, like, oh, well, you got that tattoo at a time in your life when it meant something to you. And sure, I hated it the moment I got it. I went home and I cried. Like, I hated it the moment I got it. Me covering it up is so healing for me. 19-year-old me who got this tattoo that she immediately hated and cried because she hated it so bad. Also older me who's queer and understands her identity now and like does not fuck with J.K. Rowling. Also very healing to get this covered up. There's nothing wrong with a cover up. If you don't like a tattoo, I don't necessarily subscribe to the belief that like, oh, well, it meant something at the time you got it. Well, it doesn't mean anything to me now. So it's been so nice to get this covered up. I'm feeling so much more confident. I cannot wait to get buff. You guys just wait. You just wait. When I get buff and start beating people up because I have a tattoo and buff arms, unstoppable. I'm gonna be so unstoppable. You don't even know what's gonna hit you except like this. Just kidding. I don't fight. I've never been in a fight. Second or third, I don't really remember what bullet point we're on. I have read 3 books that I really enjoyed. I read Tusk Love, loved it. Half a Soul, loved it. Entreat Me, absolutely loved it. And like I said earlier in this video, one of the things that I absolutely love and sometimes need is a book that is about these romances where the people are so in love with each other they didn't want to even exist in the world without the other person. There's literally a line in Entreat Me. We'll get to the rest of the review, I promise. There's literally a line in Entreat Me when he says, even if you lived for another 1,000 years, that wouldn't be enough. And here's the thing. I wasn't even picking up Entreat Me because it was going to cure my Gale brain rot. And somehow it did just that, because that is the type of male main character that Gale is. That's the Gale archetype. Gale is like, oh my God, I'll never be able to live in this world without you. I am so obsessed with you that even 1,000 years would not be enough. Suffice it to say, I do actually think Entreat Me really, really embodies a Gale romance. If you are looking specifically for a book that embodies the romance in Baldur's Gate with Gale that has a good ending, look no further. And like I said, I don't necessarily seek out retellings, but I actually really, really, really love Beauty and the Beast. And I really loved this retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Maybe monster fucking's been in my blood, because I've loved Beauty and the Beast since the moment I saw it when I was a kid. I'm gonna have to think about that at a different point in time. Anyway, this was a very refreshing take on Beauty and the Beast. I loved the sister dynamic. I really enjoyed how the romance plays out. If you know anything about Beauty and the Beast, obviously they're trying to break this curse with true love's kiss, and it didn't fully play out that way. And I thought that was very fascinating. Also, speaking of the curse, I thought it was so well thought out and so well envisioned, because I completely could picture this curse like perfectly. I feel like I had such a vivid visual of what he looked like, how the curse overtook him, and the ways that it would change him, the ways that it would change the grounds that they live on. But mainly I loved the characters. I actually loved all of the cast of characters in here except for the person who is supposed to be the villain slash the Gaston, which very clearly from the beginning was the man trying to entrap the father in debt. But like the whole cast of characters was so good. And I remember feeling that way about Radiance, but the characters that like stuck out to me the most in Radiance were the 2 main characters. But in this book, I feel like Louvain, our main character, her and her sister had such a beautiful relationship, and Ballard had a really great relationship with his son, but also his best friend who is a sorcerer, and he was trying to kind of figure out and break this curse. There's even a cook that I absolutely loved. She's like the maiden of the house, and she is so funny. And that is the other thing about this book. There were a lot of really, really funny characters, but especially Louvain. She is so quick and so witty and also just stubborn. She is so stubborn, and I loved her. The one thing about Grey's Raven is she has such well-realized characters, like so well-realized. I felt like I could sit down with Louvain and like have dinner and laugh with her and be her best friend. And as a matter of fact, I want to be her best friend. The other thing about this book that was very unexpected to me, but I also loved, is that Louvain is a widow, and she very much loved her husband and very much and openly expresses her grief over losing her husband and still feels a deep connection to him, but also what that means for her as she's falling in love with Ballard, and she never really even thought she would fall in love again, nor did she think that she would love anyone more than her husband. So it was really beautiful to see her kind of express that grief, but also realize that like she can have this piece of her husband that will always be so special to her and that she will always be in love with, but she can also move on and like fall in love with somebody else and continue to have a life. I don't know, it was so perfectly done. Grace, what have you done to me? Grace, oh Grace, oh Grace. So anyway, I gave that 5 stars, and I would say that a vlog where I started in a very, very low place, I'm ending it in a much higher spirited place. I realized that I had the intentions of interspersing the tarot readathon within this vlog and like showing you what I pulled for each of these, but I ended up forgetting to pull cards for Half a Soul and Entreat Me. Should we do that now and see if I can like pull anything that fits the prompt? If you're not interested in that, please feel free to leave a roller coaster emoji down below and I'll talk to you next time. But for anyone who's interested in how I'm gonna fit the prompts in, stick around, I'll pull some. Okay, so I will be picking 2 prompts because I did do the Tusk Glove one. This is already coming out, so let's pull that. So this prompt is to read a book of poetry or a novel written in prose. Absolutely does not fit. Anyway, however, the Knight of Wands is read a book set in a different time period or world than our own. Absolutely fits for Half a Soul and Entreat Me. I'm just gonna pull a random one. And the 10 of Cups is perfect because it's read a book in your favorite genre, which is fantasy. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm gonna go log these. I'm going to say goodbye to you all. Like I said, if you have nothing else to say, leave a roller coaster emoji down below because this was quite a ride. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye, friends.